What is up, my little Deinos? Vepsis here, your coach of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and we are here for the Champions of Galar tournament Season 2 Week 3 battle when we go up against Sventhoon and his team being the Uppsala Umbreons. If you missed our last week's game versus Montai and his Immunity Idols, make sure to check that one out. It was quite a banger of a game, if I say so myself, pun intended, because we brought 2 Explosion Mons and a very hyper-offensive team with a very precise game plan what we try to execute with it. So make sure to check that one out, of course, and now we are here for the Week 3 battle. We're gonna be going through my team of 6 that you can already see on the layout what 6 months I'm gonna be bringing, but more so like what they're running and what's kind of the idea behind all these sets and what's my strategy going into this game. So stay tuned for that. The matchup you should be seeing right about now on your screen for about 10 minutes or so you can dial it in and kind of get maybe pause it if you really want to kind of get a grasp of what my opponent could be bringing versus me and what kind of the matchup is as a whole. But going from here, we're going to be starting up with the mod that you have seen on your screen the early part of the video, which is going to be my dual dance lander area. We are running Earthquake, Fly, Sword Dance, and Rock Polish. And our item on this mod will be Power, which enables me to get the Fly in one turn immediately as long as I have the item still intact. And that is very important for the Galar chapters, which is probably the biggest threat to my team, or I know it definitely is. So I wanted to have a stab mode to be able to immediately hit it. And if I don't have a Sword Dance up, I still should be able to Oko it right away with a Fly, which is important for this. So I can utilize this thing if I need to, just use Sword Dance on the first attempt, break through whatever wall is trying to deal with me 1v1 at that point of the battle. And then later on the battle, when I get a second opportunity versus something like Tapu Koko, for example, I can go for a Rock Polish and then I can sweep through and deal with the offense from there once they are worn down for Landers there to pick them off in itself. So that's gonna be one of our premier winning conditions. The next one will be my Necrozma, which is gonna be Photo Geyser, Heatwave, Morning Sun, and Totemize. And this doesn't actually beat Umbreon 1v1 as you can tell, and I could have made a set that can. But based on how the mocks have been going, that I've been doing quite a few again this week. Shoutouts to Addison, Simicris, Ernesto as I call him, or Ernest Pro. We also have Martin, good friend of mine, of course, who gave me a couple of mocks as well. And then we also have Quincy Adams, and then finally we have Shaco King, who I kind of always try to trade like mark for our Champions of Galar game. So we kind of give ourselves a little bit of opportunity to get an idea that what we would think each other to be pro versus in those weeks in itself. So thank you for all of you to giving these mocks. I try to remember to shout out these more often. I've been pretty bad with them, but I have had quite a few people helping me out each week to kind of get a grasp of the matchup, and I'm taking this league very seriously in that matter, because normally I don't even bother doing mock battles thus far in my career too often. So that's a little bit different, and based on those mocks, I've been feeling comfortable running this kind of set that doesn't necessarily beat Umbreon, because there have been quite a few mocks that Umbreon doesn't either show up, and I know Sventhoon is not the biggest fan of the mod in itself to be utilizing, so there's always that chance that he doesn't bring it. And even if he does bring it, I have found ways to get rid of it to the point that Necrozma can then later on the battle win in itself. And it's very good mod just to be immediately able to break if the Umbreon doesn't show up, because Heatwave plus Photo Geyser hits everything very hard on his team in itself. So it's very good for that. I wanted Morning Sun because I will be bringing T-Spikes, so be able to get like fast Morning Suns off if I'm +2 speed with the Totemize. Can be very nice to be able to worn down something in range and potentially keep myself in a range that I can live a hit and get a weakness policy off if they are hitting me super effectively. So that's basically the idea of the set. These first 2 mods here as my first 2 picks in the draft in itself are doing what I'm hoping them to do when I pick them, and being one of my winning conditions in this battle, and hopefully one of them will carry us to get a win here in week 3. Then, speaking of the Toxic Spikes, we are bringing our Weezing making its debut this season with Flamethrower, Toxic Spikes, Haze, and Pain Split. No stab needed this week, weirdly enough. I wanted to have a Clear Smoke here originally as a form of way to get rid of any kind of setup that this doesn't become a setup fodder, but Addison actually pointed me this out last night that maybe I should be running Haze if I really don't need a stab in itself, and the whole purpose of the move is just be able to not be a setup fodder in itself. And Haze is better in that regard, because it also goes through the sub. And Flamethrower, I just needed to have a way of form of hitting the Ferrothorn. Otherwise, Toxic Spikes and Pain Split are good enough for me as my other two moves to be utilizing this week. And the Toxic Spikes are very important if the SALAZZLE doesn't show up, so it's a lot easier for me to wear him down and leave them in a range of Landorus or Necrozma to be able to win this battle in itself. And I have also Rocky Helmet holding on this mon, and we are also neutralizing gas as of ourselves to nullify for example, electric terrain to be able to go off. We are also preventing something like Cloister for getting 5 hits guaranteed with its ability. And there's also like a few other examples that could be going through that neutralizing gas comes in handy. And most importantly, I just didn't feel like I need Levitate. Neutralizing gas came more handy for me in this matchup more often than not. So that's the Weezing. Then we have our second way or premier way to deal with a Galar Zapdos, which is by far the biggest threat to me, which is gonna be physical defensive Metagross, with also holding the Rocky Helmet, with Weezing also be the another one to have to deal with that very spooky bird that does basically 2-hit KO in theory everything on my team if it really wants to. But with the Metagross, we are running Psychic to hit the Galar Zapdos in itself. We have Body Press to hit the Umbreon and the Ferrothorn with a good amount of damage with it based on their, depending on a little bit of their spreads, how much physical defense they have. This could do like around 40% to each of them by itself, which is very good. Then we also have Grass Knot to hit the Seismitoad, and this also provides me a way to deal with Cloister in itself if it's physical. If I see Cloister, for example, I need to kind of make sure that Metagross and Scrafty are somewhat reasonable amount of health, so I can have a ways of dealing with the Cloister in itself, because I don't know if it's gonna be physical or special, for example, in this first matchup, if it were to show up, and Grass Knot should be able to take it out right from full in itself. And Stealth Rocks, provide with T-Spikes, is one of my favorite hazard stacking combinations to use in draft, and I wanna be using them here to wear down my opponent alongside with my Rocky Helmets. Then we are gonna be bringing out Serena, making it also its debut this season besides the Weezing, with a Power Whip, Taunt, Rapid Spin and Synthesis. We are also holding heavy duty boots on it just to make sure that we don't take hazards damage. This is purely here to make sure that hazards wouldn't be on my side at all, while at the same time I'm not trying to rely on default, because then it would mean I'm getting rid of my hazards from his side, and I would be also at the same time a small risk would come in play of a Galar Zapdos being activated by its Defiance. So all these things considered, I wanted to have Serena this week. It also is a very good way of dealing with stuff like Tapu Koko or Seismitoad, assuming Tapu Koko doesn't run Great Bird for specifically for Serena. And then we have Taunt to be able to shut down things like Ferrothorn, to not be able to go for Spikes or Toxics or Leech Seeds or what have you for mons that would be swapping into it. If he realizes I cannot touch it, it shuts down the Umbreon completely, so it cannot beat me 1v1. And it's a nice way of hitting something that may swap into a Serena. I can go for a Taunt and prevent something like a Galar Zapdos to go for a setup move if it's a setup variant. And things like that. Taunt just felt like a very good move this week to have, when I could have maybe had instead of like fighting move to hit the Ferrothorn, but I didn't want to rely on high jump kick, because he could run Protect, and he could bring a Ghost type in this matchup. So I wanted to make sure that I'm not risking those kind of scenarios. And then, finally, our last member of our team is going to be Shetskin Scrafty. This time around it's going to be mixed defensive, holding the Rocky Helmet as well, with Drain Punch, Knockoff, Super Fang and Roar. This is here to help dealing with things like SALAZZLE. Should not be able to 2-hit KO mid Fire Blast unless it's boosting item. It should be able to deal with Umbreon very well because we have Shetskin, so it cannot Toxic me, or it can, but it ideally won't last too long on this Crafty. And I have a ways of getting rid of items if he has heavy duty boots, which is important for my hazards. And I also have Super Fang to take 50% of their current health away from them. And then I have a phasing option with Roar, so if Umbreon is going for a Whizzes, I can deter it to go hopefully to his ideal mod that he tries to Whiz Pass itself into. And Roar is important just to having, just in case if something tries to set up on this mod. And that's kind of what our main worry of this team that I'm bringing, is that out from the get-go it's not the fastest, which you can tell, and there's some small scenarios that setup mods could get out of hand, so I had to make sure that the things like Weezing and Scrafty aren't set up fodder. And outside of that, I have to just get a Blender Stegen on a Crossminer position to win. And that's basically the whole idea. Hazard stack, Rocky Helmet chip, wear his walls down, and then we get Lander Stegen on or Necrozma to win the late game for ourselves. So that's gonna be the team, and now let's go and see how this battle is turning out. Alright, we are here on the team preview versus Sventhoon, and he brought Cloister, Ferrothon, SALAZZLE, Coco, Umbreon and Galar chapters, what he shared with me, so I can edit to the layout, so thank you for him. And good luck and have fun for him going into this. So this is kinda annoying for my initial game plan, because he did bring the SALAZZLE for my T-spikes. So right now I think actually Stealth Rocks are most important for me. He could lead with the Coco, but I feel like if the Coco is the lead, he would expect the Landorus or Serena coming and click U-turn. So I think I wanna lead with my Metacross and get up my Stealth Rocks area, because they're important for SALAZZLE and Cloister. And even Galar Zapdos in itself. So I think I wanna prioritize those hazards. And go from there. But this is a team that I definitely had a little bit less preparation for. I was expecting, especially something like Seismitoad I thought was very likely, Silvally I thought was very likely. So we'll see how well this goes. He does lead with the Galar Zapdos, so I'm very glad I led with this. Because this immediately gives me Stealth Rocks. And he probably expected me to counter his Coco lead. So I'm gonna be clicking Stealth Rocks as he clicks U-turn, which puts me at 159, and he'd take the Rocky Helmet damage. So is that Scarf or is that boosting item for damage? 159 was the health, I think I said. So that is looking to be a Scarf damage and not Bandit damage. As he goes hard into SALAZZLE. Okay. But I got my Stealth Rocks up here. I have to immediately use Crafty as an answer for this, which is a little annoying. If he goes for Nasty Plot, I have to face it out. If he attacks me, I go for go for knockoff. No, I actually might always face it out, because if it's getting up a Nasty Plot in front of this Crafty and I'm not able to take the +2 hit, I would be in a bad spot. Okay, here's the substitute set. So on this I'm gonna be just phasing it out with Roar. This could be Sub-Toxic or Sub-Nasty Plot. Let's see which one it is. Sludge Wave. He doesn't reveal it just yet which one he would be as a set. But he does a lot of damage to me, which I'm not biggest fan of. He does also get the poison, so hopefully Shetskin will his Life Orb with it. Okay. So now I'm very glad that my Stealth Rocks are now up, and ideally they are there to stay. Okay. And I do get the Shetskin off, so that's very good. That kinda makes up for the fact that he went for that. I could go into my Serena and then I would taunt. But I kinda like getting up a Drain Punch on this thing and getting a little bit healthier for that SALAZZLE. So I think I'll Drain Punch. Get a little bit of health for myself. And weakening down this Ferrothor will be nice for my Landers there, because this was one of the things that might be able to live a hit from full if I'm not +2. He may go for his assets. He has also Rocky Helmet on it. Okay, Stealth Rocks. So Stealth Rocks on Ferrothorn and Rocky Helmet. And I did about 50% to it, so I would be able to go for another close comp and for another train punch. Which, at this point, I think I'm fine of doing. As this Sventhoon is gonna be at a lot lower health, it's gonna be at, I would say, 18%. He may have body press, which would be hurting me quite a bit. Oh, he set some spikes. Okay. At this point, I'm actually gonna swap into my Serena and grab a rapid spin. As he stayed in. And I can go for a rapid spin here. As he goes for a power whip. So spikes. Power whip. I'll just go for the rapid spin and get rid of this. He didn't bring a ghost type to prevent this. His way of preventing this is just getting up me worn down. He might be able to keep like one hazard up if he keeps stacking these, so I can taunt it in a bit. Yeah. So I can taunt this and rapid spin again. To be fair, I don't know if I need to rapid spin right away. I could actually synthesis first. Which I think I would do. I'm gonna get up a synthesis because this is good for Coco, so I wanna keep this thing a little bit higher health. And now that thing is probably at like 16%, so this thing is basically a sack at this point, which is nice. And having this at +1 speed means that the cloister should not be able to set up on me the turn after, which is important. And he will be clicking power whip. I don't think I want to rapid spin and take all that damage, so I might just go into wheezing on this. Or Metacross. I think the wheezing is better off taking the damage, and the Rocky Helmet should be taking it out very soon. I have to take the Stealth Rock damage as he withdraws. Uppsala, so it's the Umbreon. So that SALAZZLE is as he reveals leftovers. So this is where I can go into Scrafty and I can phase him out and prevent Wiz going off into something else. So at this point it would be SALAZZLE that is the worst case scenario. So I have to do just that and phase something out. As I would expect a Wiz coming off. Yeah. And this is where I have to phase it out. Does actually SALAZZLE die to a Scrafty hit? Because I could also just go for knockoff instead of trying to face. I don't think he can actually send it to the SALAZZLE, because I would be doing 53 to it and rocks are up. So in a way I might be better off just going for knockoff. Yeah, I think knockoff is the play. He could try to send it out with expecting me to train punch, but I'm clicking knockoff to ensure the SALAZZLE doesn't get it. Just knowing now that it's not boots. Bottom pass, yep. Wish bottom pass with lefties. Ideally he expects me to click a fighting move here, goes into SALAZZLE and I kill it. Volt Cola, which is Coco. Are you boots or what kind of item are you? Not boots. So let's see what we are getting out of it. We got rid of leftovers. So he could be just clicking Thunderbolt here. Or U-turn. If he clicks U-turn and goes into SALAZZLE, he would be behind a sub. Because Serena cannot prevent that, which would be an issue. So I could try to just stay in and let this thing go and get my landers in for free. So I don't think he beats that at this point. That might be actually the play that I stay in and let landers come in for free. If he U-turns, what would he go into? Zapdos. I think I'll stay in the knockoff. As he goes for Dashing Gleam. Okay. So I'm gonna go into my Landorus. So I'm pretty sure at +2 that Umbreon, if it's Bedef. Yeah, it should die. So I'm gonna go into this. And get up a Sword Dance first. So my Scrafty, being my last one, is dead at this point. So let me take that out of the layout. He does withdraw, probably sucking the Ferrothorn if I had to guess. There goes Hard Umbreon. Now, if I don't kill this, I wanna say Necrozma wins, right? Necrozma should be able to win if this thing doesn't die. So I'm gonna click Earthquake. I don't see a way how he doesn't like. Yeah, that's very defensive. I'm gonna die to 4-play, which is unfortunate. So we'll see if that's a throw, but I think... I'm pretty sure at this point, because I dented this Umbreon so hard, with my Landorus should mean that my Necrozma can win once I get up a Atomize off. So it might look like a throw right now, but I think it will be okay. I think at this point, my play is to go into Metacross. Right? Because this thing is at 20%. This thing is at 20%, so if I go into that... I could also go into my Necrozma now, but I think... Metacross is the play. I was not expecting it to be that physically defensive, but it makes sense. But I think, still, I should be in a position that Necrozma can win. I have to just make sure that the Coco is a little bit more worn down. Or the Necrozma is healthy enough to take a T-Bolt. So I get rid of the Umbreon, which is important for Necrozma. So Umbreon is dead from their end, which is their 5th. I'm a little torn about, like, maybe I should have, like, been a little bit more, I guess, patient with it, but I think with the Umbreon being gone, the Necrozma can do it. Madame, which is the Salah, so I cannot swap around this thing right now, which is annoying. I would have to get my Necrozma into Autotomize. I think I would have to Autotomize and get up the Morning Sun versus the Coco and stall out the terrain. If that would be the case. But I'll go for Psychic for now. He'll probably pick me off. I don't know if I actually live this. I probably don't. No, there's no shot. So Metacross goes down. My 4th mon. So I would have to go into this. And I have to just Autotomize here. He goes for Sludge Wave. Hopefully it's not gonna do too much for me. How is he getting these points with a Sludge Wave? He may have won because of that now. Or he definitely did. Because I cannot like now Morning Sun still. The terrain. Yeah, I'm definitely losing game because of that. That's so infuriating. Because now I played my hand of weakening that Umbreon, so this Necrozma, because if you look at his team, if I get a Morning Sun off versus the Coco, he shouldn't have not been able to beat me 1v1. So I'm pretty sure this is a scenario that I'm getting just 1 kill left. I'm literally 1 HP after that. That's so... It would be a different story if he ran like a Sludge Bomb, then like one of them probably was a decent chance to poison me, but the second one particularly is like bothersome. As he's probably gonna be clicking Ice Shot here. His also died. Hopefully he doesn't have Ice Shot, I suppose, but the way he brought it in probably does, yeah. So that's infuriating. So now I have to just play for differential somehow to get something out of this. Actually. Yeah, I would have to go into Wheezing right now. I'm trying to see like if Serena can pull it off, but like I would need both this thing and Serena to be high enough health for it. But I have to use this thing to beat the fucking Cloister. So I could play Pain Split first as I'm looking at my layout. I don't think the timer matters too much. So Necrozma is dead. I'll just Pain Split to get some health. But then again, he could just swap and I'm giving the Ferrothorn health. So maybe I'll just Flamethrower. I'll just Flamethrower. He probably sacks the Ferrothorn. Yeah. I'm gonna keep a little hope alive, because there might be a chance that my last 2 mods can make something happen if he doesn't play around them properly. But right now I'm still... It is not looking really the most optimal at the moment. So I have to fight this down to at least a low difference. So that's at least that's right now the very end goal. Try to get maybe more differential out of this to make it a little bit annoying for him. And if he doesn't play around it properly, it might open a window to win. Volt Cola. He would have to try to Thunderbolt me here, which I'm not letting him to have, so I'm gonna go into my Serena. So I'll withdraw. I don't think he could afford to click U-turn there. If he did, well, good for him. But I don't think he can afford to make that kind of play. Yeah, he goes for Thunderbolt. Okay. So now his play would be U-turning if he has it. So I'm gonna get myself healthier by like clicking Synthesis. Iron Defense. Well, for him having that, that means that I definitely don't win. I would have to wait the terrain to go out and then haze with Wheezing. But now I think my play is to get up a rapid spin to get myself a little bit faster. He's dual dance with Dancing Gleam, so I'm gonna be going to Wheezing actually. No, he's short no, he's dual stab, Calm Mind, Iron Defense, that's his set. I think my play is to actually try to get a crit, I suppose. How many speed boosts do I need for Serena to outpace this Coco? He's at +1. Serena at +2 could outpace it, so I think I'll go for like one more spin. He really probably a dual setup. Yeah. Because now I can taunt it. So I cannot set up further. We'll make something happen out of this. He's still faster, wow. What do you make this, like max speed? I thought I would be faster by now. He literally made this like max speed. Can't believe that. Well, I guess the way the game was going, like I was meant to lose it, because the Necrozma should have done way more work there. And the thing is, like, because I got poisoned, I'm pretty sure I would have lived Stealth Rocks, and on the Ice Shot, if the Cloister came in, I could have swapped into Serena, block that, and been okay. But now that's not gonna be the case. But good game to Sventhoon. It sucks kind of for me that the poison did happen, because it kind of put me in a back foot there. Like, granted, I could have probably tried to preserve the Landers and waited a little bit longer. Or just gone for an Earthquake and engage the damage. But like, what's the play here? Pain Split, I suppose. I don't think I'll live this. Yeah. Well, stuff do happen in Pokemon that but sometimes this does happen. It's kind of sucky because I felt really good about last week. But things happen in Pokemon that kind of is out of your hands. And like, I'm trying to think like if the Landorus was like, maybe I should try to use to break it, because it wasn't actually going to win because the Cloister did pack Ice Shot on it. So maybe it was hesitant for me to not click Earthquake, I suppose, on the first time with the Coco in front of me. So maybe that's something I'm gonna have to think back on that play and like try to think like, because I was really playing towards like, alright, if even if the Umbreon lives, the Necrozma can win. Based on how low his team was, because everything would have died to a Photo Geyser essentially, barring the Coco. But the Coco didn't have recovery either on it, because the lefties were gone. But things happen. Week 4 I'm gonna be going up against Dr. Slacking, who kicked me out in Round 1 playoffs last season. After that being his first time able to beat me, so I'm gonna be having my little redemption arc there. Not just for the last season, but also try to bounce back from this game. But it's a really unfortunate way for it to happen. But good game to Sventhoon. Make sure to check him out and all the other games from week 3. And week 4, I have to come back strong yet again. I would rather not having to bounce back this often after a loss. So I have to get a win streak going on from here on out to kind of put myself in a better player position. But it is what it is. We deal with it as we go. And I made a transaction actually dropping the Togedemaru and Basculing from my roster for Kangaskhan. So small transaction. Don't expect like too much out of it, but it was something that I wanted to pack a normal type going forward because I noticed that I was a little ghost weak when it comes to my preparation. So that should be hopefully sorted a little bit. But until week 4, thank you for watching. I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.